Broncos country, what is going on? I wanted to talk today about the possibility of the Broncos not drafting a quarterback in the first round. Maybe we roll with Brock Bowers. How would the rest of the draft turn out today? I'm going to discuss that with you. Y'all be sure to hit that like, comment, as well as subscribe. We're on our way to 500, guys, so keep hitting that subscribe. Really means a lot to have so many of you guys on board with me. But let's go ahead and get started. What inspired me from my video today is my friends on Twitter that I've seen discussing this. Shout out to Respect My Coast. Shout out to Zach Seegers, who's been talking about this. Shout out to Let's Talk Broncos and Brandon Perna. That's Good Broncos collaborating in a mailbag episode. Links in the description for you guys to check it out, where they brought up this possibility. And Zach brought up this idea of, hey, what if we just roll Jared Stidham and we go and get a quarterback in 25? Okay, we probably won't have that great of a year, but let's focus on getting some offensive weapons so that whenever we do bring in that quarterback, there's a foundation for them to play behind. And I thought that this was a really interesting premise. And for this week's or today's mock draft, I decided to take that exact approach, guys. So what if we go ahead and instead of drafting a quarterback there first round, why don't we go with Brock Bowers? Okay, somebody who could be an absolute steal that could change the dynamic of this offense significantly. And so I thought, okay, if we're going to pick Brock Bowers at pick 12, well, what do we do at 76? This is where I want to take the approach of drafting Spencer Rattler, just like our Davis Mills, okay? The Texans version of Davis Mills. Remember, in the third round, a couple seasons ago, they drafted Davis Mills, a five-star guy in high school that played for Stanford, and they had him start the majority of the year. I forget who was it, Tyrod Taylor? I forget who was the starter there for the Texans those first few weeks, but it was somebody like Jared Stidham, a bridge kind of guy. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to roll with Davis Mills for the rest of the year to see what we have in him. If he strikes gold, that's great. If not, a very well qualified tank commander to make sure that we're in a position to get a CJ Stroud in next year's draft. And the Texans pulled that off greatly, really well. And it was great because every week you would want to tune in to see how Davis Mills was doing, to see if he can get it, if things do click with him, if you do find lightning in a bottle, right? I think that's how things can be for Spencer Rattler. I do think his upside's a little bit higher than what Davis Mills was. But let's say we draft Brock Bowers, we go with Spencer Rattler at pick 121. I wanted to go after Christian Jones. I do not want Matt Park as our swing tackle. No, that is terrifying. I do not want that. Get Christian Jones in there, developing. Then at running back in round 5, a dynamic running back in Will Shipley. This running back room needs more juice. I'm sorry, Jaleel McLaughlin. Now, number 4, a wide receiver that Spencer Rattler had good chemistry with at the Senior Bowl, Marcus Roseme Jackson. A tall, speedy wide receiver, good hands from the University of Georgia. Would love that. Then, next 2 picks at 147 and 203, we'll address some defensive needs. Y'all know the biggest need that we have is the defensive line. So Mason Smith and Zion Logue coming out here to help bolster up this defensive line. Hopefully one of these guys can be good, right? And then in round 6, I think this is the last pick here at 207, going with UTSA wide receiver, 10 touchdowns this past year, Joshuacus, again, to bolster up that receiving core. So you would have Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, but then bringing in Roseme Jackson, Joshuacus. You still have Brandon Johnson and Jalen Virgil. Maybe one of those guys can take another step this year. Then you also got Brock Bowers, of course, headlining this class as a big time receiving threat at the tight end position. So what do you guys think about this? Please let me know. But I am totally good with whatever the Broncos direction they choose to go here, as long as, similar to what Brandon Perna and Zach Seegers have been saying, and a lot of us have been saying in the comments and on Twitter, just as long, guys, as we don't sign a Ryan Tannehill or somebody like that to come in here and play quarterback. Forget that. Jarrett Stidham, he's going to be a fine bridge quarterback, and maybe we strike lightning in a bottle with him, or in one of these later round rookies, such as Spencer Rattler or Michael Pratt. And if not, we still will probably be in a great position next year to get one of the top quarterbacks. All right. Now, I would still prefer to go Bo Nix. All right. I would still prefer to go Bo Nix. Heck, even Michael Penix. I don't know if Michael Penix is as dependable as Bo Nix, just because I know the injury history. Of course, he has stayed healthy the last 2 years, and but I just love Michael Penix. I love him as a person. He's got a great charismatic personality. I would be thrilled if he was drafted by the Broncos, but I got to imagine we're going with Bo Nix first. So y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Got Alex Forsyth film review coming on later today. Hit that like. Let me know your comment or your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe. We're on our way to 500. And as always, y'all, go Broncos.